Say a special shout out to Pappy, Brother Louis Major, on the burial of his son. And again, we extend tremendous love to you and to all those that are bereaved in our community of Fox Hill. We want to say a special blessing and may peace be upon you, and give God praise, because they're not for the shooting, but the fact that there was an incident in Fox Hill. And as it stands right now, the persons are still alive. But however, nonetheless, we want to pray that God would bless us tremendously, and also continue to upgrade our communities. Won't you just bow with me in prayer? Father, we give you thanks this day, and we praise you for good and perfect gifts come from above. We want to thank you because man is fearfully and wonderfully made. You have made this wonderful place called the Bahamas. And in this Bahamas, there are unique people. So that God, we call forth the goodness, the virtue, the strength, the character, the giftedness within the Bahamian people, that it will come forth and change our land. Whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, that we should be focusing on. So Father, I give you thanks today. I give you thanks for the majority of Bahamians who are good and law-abiding citizens. And we call forth the majority to raise a higher standard, to subdue in a positive way the minority that is causing the havoc and the pain within our nation. Continue to bless our nation, its leadership, give them some focus, give them some guidance today. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I want to just advise you again that our telephone numbers are 323-6232 and 325-4316. And our dedicated Guardian text line is 422-4796. The text line again is 422-4796. This is a very unique show, and we're going to be talking about the spirit of an overcomer. And we have a very, very unique young lady in the studio today. And coincidentally, yesterday we harvested a few beehives, and out of the beehives we got some rich, dark honey from deep in Fox Hill, in Foxdale. Now, some of y'all think I'm being a little facetious. I got the video to prove. I did harvest a large beehive in Fox Hill, right in the heart of Fox Hill, and we did get some beautiful black Fox Hillian honey. Not only do we have it in the jar, we do have it in studio today in the person of Natasha Yvette Wright Rahming. Say hello to us, Natasha.
Hello.
Natasha is a born and bred Fox Hill gal, very, very unique. I happen to like her a little bit, but also a very gifted person in ministry. And just so y'all don't think I am being a little bit fresh here, Natasha, not just happen to be, Natasha is my wife, also a business partner, and also partner in ministry. She has a very, very unique story. As you know, we always encourage persons in the nation that, as for this show, you can call in and you can say what God has done for you. I believe that during the course of each day, each week, there's somebody who has been touched, there's somebody who has gotten their breakthrough, there's somebody who has been healed, delivered, and set free by the grace and mercies of God. But this unique lady, Natasha, I've had some unique experiences, and I believe she would warm your heart tremendously. We just came out of October, which is Cancer Awareness Week. But we're not going to be making awareness of cancer. We're going to be making awareness of deliverance and overcoming from cancer in a various situation. So I invite you to tune in as we hear from Natasha. I think we need to go and do a little bit of background first of all. You are as deep in Fox Hill as the silk cotton tree, and so let's give our audience a tad bit of a background as to you and some of your pickaninnies, your family, the family line in the Fox Hill community.
Well, I am proud to say definitely I am a true blue Fox Hill gal. I mean, going back for generations, my grandmother, I want to give a happy good afternoon and Sunday to her, Beryl May Wright. Love her with all my heart and then some. To my mother, Jackie Wright, my sisters and brothers, I am Fox Hill through and through.
You didn't mention your sister and brother's name.
My sister Giselle, Ansela, Daryl, and Craig are my brothers. And to my two special kids, Robin and Nishan, good afternoon. And good afternoon, Bahamas. Yes, I'm a Wright by birth. Davis, Bryce, Rahming. I'm mixed right up, but all of us are centered in Fox Hill. And so if you are of those bloodlines, whether your name has changed or adjusted over the years, we are still one. And we know each other by our faces. And if you're not sure, we ask, so who's your Grammy? And when they tell us who your grandmother is, we start talking and calling names, and we know exactly where you lie. And so, yes, I am proud to say that I am Fox Hill.
Okay, so you being mixed up like commissar explains a lot. And that is true. Fox Hill is a spirit, Fox Hill is a family, Fox Hill is a unity. I noticed something, especially since one organization in green whooped the tail of another organization in red. I gotta be careful because I gotta go home. And I'm not talking about DNA and F&M. And by the way, for all of you, SAC Big Red Machine, she's wearing green pearls today. Oh, I gotta rub it in. And QC whoop SAC. Now, they may say it's one, but I just want to acknowledge you are a...
Listen, I am also a soccer for life. Let me include that. So to my SAC class of 1990, hello, good afternoon, I know you're tuned in. I posted everything. I am a soccer for life, regardless of what color I wear, regardless of who beat us, how, when, and what. I am a soccer for life.
Well, although I was sort of glad QC sort of got something, technically I'm red too. I'm from Oranbilly. I'm from Oranbilly. And we lived at the bottom of Sac Hill all my life, apart from living in Johnson Road and Stenton, Camp Road and Stenton Bridgeland Park. So we sort of close to Sac people too. And then I happened to marry one and kids going there and all that stuff. So Sac, it ain't too much love lost, but it was a good feeling. It was a good feeling to see Bishop Arnold Josie in his red shoes and red jacket. You know, having to hold a stiff upper lip when the comments drop on them. But nonetheless, SAC is a very, very great school, great alma mater, wonderful people, and indeed we have one of them here. But today, though, however, we want to see if we can shed light and help our general public as it relates to some of the unique experiences that you would have had over the years. And I think, well, I know that God has given a tremendous awareness and tremendous blessing from yourself. I would first basically say what I think. I see you do have a very powerful ministry, and I see your ministry also expanding and growing, especially in prayer base. You're very tremendous in terms of prayer warrior, and also in your teaching ministry is very, very dynamic. I've seen from the things that God has brought you through that it has translated into enhancement in terms of skill and presentation and awareness of God. But you would have had some interesting rebellion, I would call it, in your body in the terms of that B-cell lymphoma that we had to deal with. I'm going to leave most of the show for you to talk because you know you do have a very wonderful voice. But would you take some time and enlighten? Because I think just recently in church you gave a testimony as to the stage in what you are. But we're going to get to that by the end of the show. Explain to us what had happened with yourself in terms of this rebellion, I call it, in your body.
Okay, well, you know, you say, where do you start?
Yes.
But the best place to start would be at the beginning. And in 2008, 2007, and a little before that, I started some dental work. Of course, at the time, wanting to preserve my smile. And started some dental work, but things started going contrary in other areas of my mouth, and the gum was swelling and not going down. My body started to react to, standard antibiotics that you're given during dental procedures. It was not accepting it. And this one process started going on for months. The gum started swelling. So finally I went and got another opinion and was told, okay, we need to do a biopsy. So I actually had a surgery in the palate of my mouth, because by then I started having swelling and lumps in the roof of my mouth, what we call the palate, and also along the gum line on the front of my mouth. Following that surgery, of course they would send it off to the labs to see exactly what's happening. My oral surgeon said at the time, listen, I got just about everything there, so we should be fine. And within a few short weeks, the results came back and it said B-cell lymphoma. By then it was January of 2008. Now I am a person who, I don't get sick. I have a flu maybe every 10 years. If I start to get a little stuffy, it's gone within a couple of days. So this really threw me for a loop. And I thought I had faith in God then, but I knew that this was now battle time. This was life and death. And even though they said to me, oh, it's stage 1, we can work through this, you don't have to do much chemotherapy or anything of the sort, it's so minute. One of the oncologists said to me, we won't even call it cancer. And I'm saying, if we weren't calling it cancer, and it's so minute, what's the big deal? But going through that process, I'm a fixer. So if something's wrong, let's fix it, deal with it, move on. That was my concept. Okay, I'll go to the doctors, we'll see what we need to get done, and move forward, move past this. Well, one thing led to another, and as I was sitting in one of the oncologist's office, and they were speaking to me, when they first said cancer, I sat there and everything inside of me said, no, this was not happening. No, it's not cancer. I am not accepting this. And from then it was a journey. I prayed, and I really prayed. And I asked the Lord to direct me. How do I do this? Well, what am I going to do? And, God is so good, because I want to talk about Him. He is so good. When you ask questions, He answers. He literally answers. And I said, I need you to answer me through certain persons whose faith walk I trust. I've watched them and their faith walk with God. I said, I need some clarity on how to do this. And there were 3 persons in the space of that one weekend, because I was about to go see another doctor to have a port put in my chest to start chemo. And each of them gave some very clear directives in terms of how the Lord is speaking to them. And I spent almost an hour on the phone, I remember that Friday afternoon, with my aunt as I was heading to the doctor's office. And she says, Tash, you don't want to give God a chance? You don't want to give God a chance? And she kept saying this to me, and hi, Auntie Ronnie, and I said, you know what? Okay. I walked out of the parking lot. I never went to see the doctor. And I sat down, and as I prayed and meditated, the Holy Spirit directed me on a natural course of what I needed to do in terms of changing my diet. I started searching and digging what was best to eat, what things I needed to remove from my diet, adjustments I needed to make to my life. And I started that. And so for about 2 years, really, from the time of diagnosis until 2010, that's where I was. I started juicing fruits and vegetables and everything out of any yard as least processed food as possible. That's what I was taking in. I learned how to combine certain fruits and vegetables and nuts and take out the dairy out of my diet and change to almond milk and all sorts of stuff. I mean, I was making even coconut milk at some point and almond milk, you know. I became a real lab. I bought a juicer and everything was good. You know, but I want to say very clearly though that God put some people around you who are there as a support system, and if you are willing, you tap into that, and you will go so much further. I remembered when I called my sister and I said, Zell, you sitting down? So she said, Tash, what happened? I said, I was told I have B-cell lymphoma. I have cancer in my mouth. And at the time she says, what? And I heard her take a deep breath. And she said to me, she said, okay. So she said, you know, it's a matter of now which C you're going to believe. She said, you can believe the small c cancer, or are you going to believe the big C, Christ? I chose Christ that day.
Wow, that's a powerful segue right there. Do you believe the small c cancer, or do you believe the big C, the capital C, which is Christ? You're tuning in to Silver Lining here on Guardian Radio Talk 96.9 FM. In studio with me, Natasha Rahming. We're talking about the spirit of the overcomer. We invite you to stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Silver Lining here at Ruben Rahming. In studio we have with me Natasha, Foxville girl, a dynamic person of God, someone who has been experienced a proven love and deliverance of God. When we left off, you were talking about your communication with your sister Giselle, who is a very dynamic young lady. We have a very precocious relationship, even on air. But she's a very dynamic and also spiritual lady. She gave some very good advice. That advice was to tell you which one you're going to consider priority. The small c, which is a cancer from your diagnosis, or the big C, which is in Christ, your faith and your hope. I think for the sake of the audience, for people to begin to understand a bit more of this, you begin to speak about how the initial problem started in your palate, and you were having these small little really minuscule lumps and stuff, which were surgically removed, I think on what, at least 3 occasions, right?
2.
2 occasions. That they were actually removed and taken out. And each time they came back super aggressively. Now, this had reached to a point in the stage, and this is one of the heavy things as a woman. This is in your face, literally in your face. And this thing has reached to the point whereas this B-cell lymphoma, and if I'm correct, my memory serves me correct, because you're my memory, I don't remember things when you're around. That's your job to remember for me. That it was a unique form of B-cell lymphoma. It's very, very unique and very, very aggressive. Now we've reached to a point where as you, as a female, have been battling this back and forward, going at it holistically. And this cancer now is raging. It is to the point now that you have a tumor in your mouth that is about the size of a baseball. How big that was? To me, it looked huge. Because it was, you know, it looked like it was coming out.
Well, it looked like a golf ball. But
I mean, it was huge.
It
was huge. It was huge. It was huge. It was huge. I mean, I'll leave it up to you to describe it. See, I can describe it from me looking in from the pit and on the outside and seeing it and experience it. But it's the point of it. It was massive. It was ulcers. It was bleeding. This thing was raging. This battle was at its peak. And again, for a woman, I know it would have been traumatic simply because it's right in your face. It's not in your chest, and I'm not diminishing cancer of the breast or any other part of the body. It's not in the colon where it's being hidden. It's not somewhere whatever else. It's in
my face.
On your face.
And couldn't hide it.
Couldn't hide it.
Couldn't hide it. And so jumping to 2010 then, after having 2 surgeries, one in theater, one at my dentist's office. The tumor started to grow on the right side of my face, near the front. And it had gotten to a point where it was difficult for me to close my mouth. I want to say that, I mean, just reflecting right now, it was hard. I'm for almost about 2 months, I could not lay down and sleep. And I remembered you having to go in the front room, take the cushions off the sofa, try to brace me up. If I lay on my right side, the weight from the tumor pulled and ate. I lay on the left, it pressed into whatever teeth were in my mouth and it ate. And so I was always sitting almost in a reclining position. I couldn't sit up in the chair all the time because the weight pulled down. And several nights I remember when I finally drifted off to sleep, and at this point, especially in the night, pain was constant. There was constant pain. And I remembered several nights I would drift off to sleep, and just as I began to get comfortable, I had to pitch up out of my bed literally one time and ran into the bathroom. And because I felt that something was going in my throat. And when I leaned over, there was a really big clot.
Yes, I remember.
That came out. It looked like, sorry for all you persons who eat liver, but it looked like a large piece of liver.
And I have photos of it.
Yes, we have photos that I had to pull out of the side of my mouth between my teeth and my jaw. And man, I'm telling you, it was a challenging time. And every day I got up, because of the nature of the job that I do, I'm always speaking with people, so it was important. And I tried to stay home. There were times I wanted to stay home and just cover up in the bed with a sheet and just don't move. And the Spirit of God would not allow me to do this. I was nudged every morning, get up and get out. There were times I got up crying, but get up and get out. And I remembered the last time I really could not go any further, and this would have been about near the end of July. I went to try to do my regular runs, and I was about to go into the bank. And at this point, the tumor had swollen so much that part of it showed I couldn't properly close my mouth, and it started to drip. So I had to have a towel with me. And I still got up, walked out of the office, pulled up to the bank, and I looked at the bank door. And I knew I could not go in. I started to cry. This big woman sitting in a car, I started to cry. And I realized I could not go any further. I pulled off, came back, and had someone else do it. And those were some really testing times. There were times I would be on the road, like I said, driving to do whatever I needed to do. And a lot of persons thought I was just having a dental issue, not realizing the gravity of it. There were times I would be in my car and I would just scream. I would literally just hold my steering wheel and scream for the tension and the pain that I was feeling. There were times I got angry. And I said, God, if you're going to heal me, you need to do this. Because if not, I might as well go out there in the world and do whatever I wanted to do. Because if I'm not coming through this, this is what it is. I might as well do what I want to do and just die. But if you say you are who you are, you have to heal me. And so there was a lot of battles that went on within me. And looking at my face, I was someone who had really nice teeth, a nice smile.
Beautiful dark skin, nice thick hair.
Yes, all of that.
I'll say no more.
And so this was difficult.
You still have them though.
Thank you.
Yeah, when we say had, we're talking from then there's a transition and you transition.
And then now, yes. Thank you so much.
No, it's a fact, you got it.
And, I looked at my children, I looked at my parents, I looked at my family, and they were there. They were there. I looked at friends, some of them didn't know what to say to me. Most times I was the one talking and encouraging and helping. And here I was in need of all of this. I'm telling you, the power of God, Bahamas, is so real. He had persons praying for me who I didn't know and did not even realize it was me they were praying for, because they were just told by one of their prayer partners, hey, I have a friend whose daughter is sick. We need to intercede for her. Or I have a niece who's sick. We need to intercede for her. My church family, I look around and there were many praying. And a lot of persons still didn't really understand what was happening. And there was so much things going on in my life. So when this came, and there was a lot of battles that I was facing then. So now to have this diagnosis and having to go through this, it was crazy. We had insurances. We were just switching insurance companies. And this came up. So that fell through. They could not carry me anymore.
Yeah.
So everything now had to come out of pocket. Where's this money going to come from? How are we going to do this? You know?
That reminded me of something I thought was very unique, because one of the things I got my fair share of schooling from you and those about this. I do so many things for everybody else out in the community, up and down, everything else. So much things. So I had to pull back a lot of things I had to deal with. Transportation, when people see you drunk, because you're dealing internally. And it's amazing during those times you begin to realize out of thousands of people you help, but you can't find one to come and help you, it seems like. That myth got shattered. I think we all had to learn some things. I had to learn that I was a bad receiver. I have always been so used to giving, probably because in my childhood I've had probably some bad experiences, whereas persons would give you things, when they get mad they take it back. So you know what I learned? Always give with a pure heart and never take back what you give, but I've had a problem receiving. This ties into what you were saying about the insurances and the position it puts you in. Because for one, dealing with 100% natural food and all the different remediations we were taking, those were very expensive. And then coming to the point where you will have to deal with chemo. But something happened too that made a shift in me also as well. My cousin Donna called. And she said, now Ruben, I know how you go. All I call on you is just for your permission. That's all I want from you, because I know how you go. It's amazing, God. But say, I just want your permission, Ruben. I want to do a stakeout. And I'm the kind of patient in faith. I believe like, hey, I just go ahead and give you the $10, you know, right, or whatever else. So I've never been quite a stakeout type person. I would support them, but me personally, I would have never done something like that. And I think, and you need to correct me because you're my brains. I don't remember things when you were around. I said before, I'm very serious, y'all. So don't think it's hateful that I'm asking her to recall. No, that's what she does. Okay. They pulled it off in under a month, right?
About, yes.
And under a month, they pulled off a massive stakeout, and I think it did more for me than, and I'm sure for you, than even the monies that it generated, what was significant. Right. Was the kind of response. I have never, and the type of validation, the family and the people in the Foxville community and everybody that came together that day and did something like that so swiftly was a healing balm for me. It didn't totally get me over my thing, but it broke the mold for me to learn to receive, because and we're still dealing with this now, because yes, they consider you, although you're healed, they consider you uninsurable.
Yes, yes, I'm considered uninsurable.
So
as it is right now.
Our business plan going forward is we must always be in a position that in the unlikely event that we have to do anything with you, we just need to keep ourselves in a safe position. Right. Simply because now, despite the fact that, how long has it been now since you've overcome?
I have just reached my 5th year since I did chemo and radiation, and my 7th year from diagnosis.
And yet in this country, they won't even give you an insurance, say with a waiver, saying, okay, if this thing comes back, we won't deal with it. But if you have a broken finger, we'll take care of that.
Right, no, they won't. And there were a few companies we checked into who would have considered it, but what would have had to have been paid monthly was almost the amount of mortgage. So yes, it could not be done. It could not be done. And so I am grateful, like you said though, that I am the healed. I am the healed of the Lord. I know persons, I understand the term of being a survivor. I choose not to say that I'm a survivor. I
like
choose
that.
to say that I am the healed of the Lord.
Yes,
I am an
yes.
overcomer.
Yes,
I did not survive cancer. It was crushed.
Thank you. I don't like that sense because it gives a tone of being a victim. I understand when people say it, but for me, I agree. But you spoke about the transition, and I know it would have been painful because many times you sit there very hopeless, and because there's nothing much you could do as a husband, and then sometimes you sit there and you just try to do what you need to do, and at the end of the day, with all the things that we have to deal with, you still being out there, and I understood that that was important for your morale, regardless. You couldn't take you and bury you inside the house, and so on and so forth. But you overcome things in different ways. So we understood this golf ball size, which I thought was a softball size. I still do, and I have pictures to prove it. Ulcerous tumor that was in your mouth, and you have a very lovely face. You're pretty foxy gal. Yeah, foxy have beautiful women, and we got with that. Whenever they tackle this thing in your mouth, they cut it out. This thing came back in days. Little bit it healed within a week or two. You see it's kind of, and it came back. So this was very aggressive. This is very aggressive. So now we moved to the point where, as you had to start, we made the decision, you know what? Lord, where we after this? We granted this. We came up, we granted this one shot, one kill. And some things begin to happen. So I want to focus on two things. We're going to skip into it a little bit. I think we do need to take some time to acknowledge the person is in oncology.
Yes.
We will do that. And let's start from there, and I'll put in the other points.
Okay. Well, after the decision was made to go into to do chemotherapy and radiation, consideration was given to going abroad, staying here, and everything. I told them, listen, if I'm going to do anything right now, I'm going to do home. I like home. I like to smell my own sheets. I want to be able to be around family. That was vital for me. And so we spoke with persons on oncology, made the arrangements, and listen, I want to give a shout out to those nurses and doctors.
Oh yeah.
They have to be called to do that. Hi Kia, hi Nurse Kalfani, Dr. Turnquist, Dr. Monroe. I mean the works. Thank you all so much for what you've done for me.
I'm sorry. But it started running down the list. With the little skinny little Indian doctor named Sherman, when Robin was a preemie.
Oh
You're
God.
the brain. You remember these things. Listen, God has
Loshan,
been
Dr.
Loshan was so awesome. My daughter was a preemie. I mean, if you look at my son, and she was so small, and I have a photo of it, but her whole hand, when she was in the incubator, she grabbed my finger, and her whole hand barely got around my pointer finger. And that's Robin. She's super, super large right now, and everything else. Princess Margaret Hospital is never perfect. I would never speak to it being perfect. But in the midst of whatever may be the deficiencies, there are some very awesome people. And so to all of you that lift up a standard, all of you that do your best, all of you doctors and nurses who know how to fix it up, wear it out, make it do it out, who don't make no excuses, who give the level of service, as for me and my house, we want to say thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Time is running quick, so we just want to say we love you people in oncology. And thank you for the dope you give my wife. Now, also sister, they help with the ports.
Yes, they did help with the ports, and their whole demeanor. It is so comforting when you know that. I can't stress this enough that you have to have a really good support system.
Yes.
But understand that if you don't, the ultimate and true support above all is our Maker God. Because where there may not be family or friends, He will put persons in your path to help you and love you just as. So don't think that, well, I have no one there to support me, or my family isn't checking that much for my situation. No, that's not the case. God will supply someone and persons there to assist. And I just want to say that after going through my process and switching the way I ate, the way my diet was, there were changes that did not just come from diet, did not just come from prayers, But there were things that God had to do on the inside of me. I want to get that word out today. There were many times I walked around as a young married woman. I was angry about things. There were things that were held in that I was hurt about.
Yeah.
I want you to know that these things eat away at your health, even if you don't realize
They
it.
do. They do.
And I know that I've been healed. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. I was healed definitely first from the inside before it ever manifested on the outside. Before the tumor ever went, before I even started chemotherapy, and during that time, God did a change on the inside of me. And so it isn't just a physical thing. The person that I am now is far stronger, far more settled, far more forgiving than the person I was then. So I want to encourage others, if you're going through sickness, don't just focus on that. Focus on you. Allow the Lord to change you. You know, I had families, like we said, Donna and your cousins and everyone, they had a big stake out, and I said, God, I started crying privately because I'm saying these people are reaching out to us.
Listen.
And these people are helping us, and their heart was shown. My family came behind, and we had another one because I was sitting down with 3 different dentists, 2 different oncologists, going away for scans, all sorts of stuff that was going on. I did not have 2 doctors. I had a team and then some. And these were persons I was seeing on a rotational basis. And as it is now, 5 years later, after treatment, I still have to see them at different points.
And I think people just need to appreciate this thing was aggressive.
It was.
And for it to be killed with one shot, one kill, I'm going to roll some things again because, you know, we got to do some other stuff. I think we need to show the world the real side of the relationship because, because you just get under my skin. I don't believe no such thing as no 50 years of marital bliss. You're lying. All right? It's a covenant, it's a relationship. Ain't no bliss in that.
Not all the time.
You don't bliss, yeah, so don't go with that foolishness. But we talk. There's going to be a lot of interactions we're going to have. I want to say something because I think it's true, and I want to let you know that in the next 2 minutes we're just going to open up all the lines so we can talk. But I want to say this, in the midst of that, I consider this a very beautiful experience, and I hope you give me permission to post some of these photos on Facebook. When you went into the oncology, and the side effect of cancer is to lose your hair, and so on and so forth. And actually, I think I have some of the most beautiful, sexy photos of you with your bald head. I'm so serious. So much so that I don't mind if you do the Shanina corner thing now. No, I actually did. And in the midst of that, God restored your beauty. And by the way, the photo that I have in the ad posted on Silver Linings is a post-cancer photo. And so God actually restored everything. And I thought that was so beautiful with your bald head and everything else. So in the midst of that, God also began to restore your dignity. I would also like to say, I agree with you with the healing, because I think some very good conversations came out of it that helped to uproot some issues you had, childhood and everything else. And so sometimes the pain is like burning and purifying of gold, and it did some stuff, and
yes.
It didn't perfect all things, but then it made some level of our cooperation even a bit more efficient and a bit more tight. Now, just for you to know, my wife and I, we're on 2 opposite sides of the scale. She girly, all right, she girly, and Bruce Jenner and me. I am Ruben from Fox Hill. You understand? She would pray to God and tell God rip his hair out and throw it down to her and say, here, make a pillow. Me, I talk to God. When I finish this, man, my main God don't talk, man. He ain't deaf and stupid, And so we're 2 totally different persons spiritually. I'm adamant that once I pray to God, basically, I ain't going over that no more like that. I look forward to it. But you and God, man, listen here, I feel sorry for him. If that's my permission, because you do have a way to pray. I value that because I'm sure it compensates for any weakness that I have, and I'm sure I do have weaknesses in my prayer life. But I just have that level of faith, and I've seen how that brought everything, even with the children and everything, how they pray and everything else. And it caused almost like a prayer revival within family and everybody else because of that. And that made me understand one thing. Families may have ups and downs, but if you have a good enough relationship, it removes everything and it causes people to get on one accord. And I attribute that good old-fashioned elbow grease and prayer and coordination and teamwork to bring about this tremendous success. What point do you want to take? I think we have a call or two.
Yes.
Do you want to take this call?
Take the call.
Let's take the call. Caller, you on Silver Linings? You still there? Yeah, go ahead. Yes. Yes. Yes.
I really believe that. I really believe that there is some people out there who have used it because of their unforgiveness. You know, the Bible said, I think it's in Matthew, that if you don't from the heart forgive one another, getting intended to the tormented. And that means even physically here on this earth, because if you harbor illness, and I believe there's a lot of folks out there, they went to all kinds of specialists and everything, and they can't find it because they are hot. And it says, the Bible says, like the root of bitterness.
Yes.
And then evil, you know, evil me.
Yes, it does.
And you know, it's really good, but, you know, and let me ask you, you what, when you started to go not to eat and eat, how did your body react, or how did you feel?
I actually felt much better than I had done in years.
Uh-huh.
Well, I can say that I've been blessed with good skin, but my skin looked better. I lost weight. I naturally lost weight, and this was before chemo, because at that point you would definitely lose a lot of weight. But I naturally lost weight. I had more energy. I was more relaxed mentally, and so the adjustment in the diet, along with, and like I said, a prayer life, along with that time with God, and what He was doing for me inside, changing me, even repenting of some things that I had done before I was a Christian. You know, all of that brought about healing. And so I can say that it has to be a full process, and let me speak to the power of that also too, to the point that when I went and started chemotherapy, the tumor was large and in my face.
Large.
I had a towel over my face, and some of the nurses did not know what I really looked like. I did my first round of chemo. I remember it was R-CHOP, so I had 2 days in oncology. I would be off for about 2 to 3 weeks, and then go back for the next treatment. When I came into oncology for the second set of treatment 3 weeks later, some of the nurses looked at me and was not sure. And I remember there's one in particular, and God bless her soul, man. Listen, she saw me, she turned around, she said, I have to go call the doctors. And she went to call a couple of them. And the next one came out, and she looked at me after the first nurse went in the back to call the doctor. The next nurse came out, she looked at me, she said, oh my God, she said, you look like you've touched the hem of his garment. And I said to her, I have. You know, and it was such a change. But also, where persons will have chemotherapy and they're really sick and they're weak and having so much issues. My main issues, I simply had, well, my hair left, but I was also, there were times when I was a bit weak, and that was it. A little bit of thrush in my mouth, that was it. There are benefits. I had none of the other side effects. Not completely, but I have not gone totally off the wagon, so to say.
Caller, I thank you so much for this. I have another caller on, but we're going to the break. I want to ask our callers to just to hang on for us. I think it's very, very important. And I'll remind you of our text line, which is 422-4796, 422-4796. If you can hold on, call it till we come back on the other side of this break so we can bring the ship on home. You're tuning into Silver Lining here on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Silver Lining here on Guardian Radio. We have in studio Foxhill Gal, Natasha Wright Rahming, and we're talking about the spirit of the overcomer. We have somebody on our live line. Let's go directly to our live line right now this time. Caller, you're on. Good afternoon, and thank you so kindly for holding. I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes. 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 Yes, it is. Caller, I do appreciate it, and I thank you for the yeoman's effort. And hey, you don't sound as out of breath as you think, so you're in better shape than you think. Well, I do appreciate it. We are so grateful, and actually we'll be doing a bit more shows. I made my mind up a long time that should I have a national platform, want to keep it simple and keep it real. Most persons is about them, but I think we're going to shine more, greater spotlight on the relationship. Natasha is a wonderfully gifted person. I'll probably let you meet my daughters, Rasheen and Amber and Robin and my son, Deshaun, and those. We want to bring truth and balance, a realistic, factual proof. And I think if I can interview somebody, why I can't interview my own household as well. I'm not exempt. If I can ask you to show your silver lining, your story of overcoming, why can't I expose mine? I agree. I agree. And we do have a lot of wonderful stories, and there's a lot of things that we'll be talking about also during the course of this month in terms of our work and our community work and everything else. And I do appreciate you taking the call time. Natasha is smiling, so she's very, very grateful as well. Yeah. Yes. I live a life where I'm not ashamed of it, and if I'm wrong, guess what I do? Sorry. It's as simple as that. Yes. Yes. And so you have no benefit, and I agree with you 100%. Claude, I do appreciate that. We're wrapping up in the next 3 minutes, and you have made our day. May your clothesline be blessed. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, and thank you so much. Tasha, we got about 3 more minutes, and we're going to be doing some additional things. Why don't you take it home? What's on your heart?
I just want to say.
And by the way, you do sound very sexy on the radio. She does voiceover and everything else, You see why you can't go far from Foxhill? I am serious, but I'm so. Anyway, all right, so go ahead.
Now?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I just want to say, that I am so grateful to God for this journey. There was a time in my life where I could not have said thank you for, in the midst of all of this, I looked around and I said, thank you? No, this is too much. This is what's going on. But I can truly say right now, thank you, God, for what He brought me through. This was a process, and it has made such a drastic change in me. And He's given me a fortitude and a calmness that when certain things come up, I look around and say, okay, God, you know what? We had issues with Robin, and you brought us through. We had life and death with Nashawn. You brought us through. And now I'm here again facing a battle with life and death. And you've already brought me through.
Yeah.
And I want to encourage people out there. Listen,
Yes.
God will bring you through. When you ask, He will answer. He said, call upon me and I will answer. I called upon the Lord. And in Psalm 118, I sat down in May of 2010. I said, God, I can't do this on my own. I don't know how to do this. You need to help me. Give me a word. Tell me something. Because see, at the end of the day, when everybody was around and they leave, it's still only you and God. And in doing that, He gave me some scriptures that I needed just to carry me through. Every day, carried me through. I am a grateful woman of God.
I'm going to just read these texts rather quickly. We have one coming in. Hey, this is a Leaders Excellence show. I love it. Can't wait for part 2. So, okay, there is a part 2. Trust me, she's going to be back. We're going to be talking some more things. You want to take this to a more personal level in that regard. God is with you both. Great ministry program. Next text, continue to go forth, you and Ruben. Final text here saying, it is always a blessing to hear Sister Rahming. She's testimony. She is truly is an overcomer. I just wanted to encourage her to keep working for God, and that her testimony is truly uplifting someone right now. She is an encouragement too. Listen here, I want you to like Silver Lining on Guardian Talk Radio, our Facebook page. You can just like us so you can stay tuned. We'll be toning up the level of the communication and the relationship. I want to say special thanks to this beautiful black pearl Foxhill gal, Natasha Yvette Wright Rahming. And we want to thank you so much for your spirit of overcoming. Time doesn't do us justice. And we want to say thank you all for tuning and listening in. Coming up next is Q&A here on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. And again, wherever there is a dark situation, wherever there's a dark cloud, there is a silver lining. You have a good day.